Disclaimers on Twitter bios on personal accounts seem pretty redundant to me, and from what I can tell, it seems to be a request from employers. If it's clear that a Twitter account is a personal profile, in other words, it has a person's real photo and name, then it's a personal account, and obviously anything posted there are the views of that person. There's really no need to state otherwise, because people have lives outside of work, and to expect employees to not have opinions or not communicate those opinions outside of work is detached from reality and a little bit controlling. Recently, I was consulting with someone about business-to-business lead generation for their employer within their role as an employee. Their employer had strict rules about what the employee could and couldn't communicate about the company, and further, they wanted to check everything over before it went public. But it put this person, the employee, in a bind of what they can and can't do because business-to-business lead generation is part of their role. And this requirement from the employer really limits them. An employer wanting to check everything over before something goes public is only an issue if the person that is creating that is concentrating on bottom of the funnel brand awareness. Now, bottom of the funnel brand awareness is communicating to prospects things that are related to a brand and are company specific to get that prospect to make a buying decision. If one goes up the sales funnel to either middle of funnel, that is communicating about the range of solutions available to the prospect, or top of funnel, that is communicating about interests or the problem your company solves, then the employee escapes the employer's brand-related restrictions that are placed on them. In order to drop brand-related communication and go more top of funnel, you need to communicate about two things: your ideal customer's interests and or the problem your employer's brand actually solves. Your employer can't control what you communicate, as this is not employer or brand related. But how do either of these ultimately then relate back to lead generation for your employer? If you are interested in or have opinions about cheese, other cheese lovers will find you. Eventually, those cheese lovers will seek to know more about you, and in doing so, if they happen to have the same problem your employer solves, lead generation will naturally happen. Likewise, communicating about your problem your employer solves, others with that exact problem will also find you. If people have the same problem you are communicating about, they'll seek to know more about your relationship to that problem, and again, lead generation will naturally happen. Even though top of funnel content isn't directly related to your employer's product or service and thus brand, your ideal customers will begin to associate you with being helpful around their interests or problems within the industry and will want to know more about you. In the age of Google, they will find you. And if you have your other digital assets set up properly, this will lead to lead generation for you, where you can start to talk about the solution your employer provides using the brand guidelines they allow. So practically, how do you do all of this? It starts with determining who your ideal customer is and where that ideal customer is located. Once you know who your ideal customer is and where that ideal customer is located, keep in mind the following maxim: those who are the organizer get all the glory. Those who attend what is organized get the credit crumbs. Translating all of this into activities could be doing some of the following with and for your ideal customers, all related around their interests or broad industry problems. Conducting an interview, hosting a panel discussion, hosting a networking event, sending interesting news, creating a discussion group, creating an industry awards night, creating an industry association, making introductions, curating or creating content, answering industry questions, and so on.